Welcome to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm vonKleist, and I'm doing music today.
It's been going on for year after year, and so many have shed many a tear. And when they sit down to cry, they never question or try to find an answer. That's the way it's been for oh so long, and you're so used to it you don't see what's wrong. It's in your history, and if you just look and see that it's repeating. When lawyers' litigation goes without examination, you can bet that it won't take very long. With rules and regulations and without representation, pretty soon you'll sing a slavery song. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't know what was real. You'll learn the hard way.
Yeah, I think America's going to find out the hard way. We better wake up.
So how can you get someone to hear when their ears are filled with self-imposed fear? If there's a voice in the crowd that shouts a message out loud, will someone listen?
Maybe they're listening, but are they hearing?
And how can you get someone to see when they can't bring themselves to turn off TV? If someone turns on a light, will others join in the fight or turn a blind eye? When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't care what was real. You'll learn the hard way.
All right, welcome to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. Today is the 30th of January, 2026. And the phone lines are open. Open Lines Friday. Talk to you in a minute.
When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you've been asleep at the wheel. You didn't care what was real. You'll learn the hard way. Will someone listen or turn a blind eye?
Okay, now that's out of the way. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. Yeah, TGIF. Whew, what a week we've had, and boy, we've got another one coming. We got all kinds of stuff on our plates. And anyway, welcome to the broadcast. And like I said, it's Open Lines Friday. 215-867-8255 is the phone number. If you want to call in anything you want to bring to the table, that's just fine. Going to have Open Lines Friday. Why not? So, there's a bunch of different things. I lined up a whole bunch of different clips here for different topics. And one of which has to do with an audio that has been released of a conversation that Erika Kirk was having with some of the staff members of the TPUSA. And this was not even 2 weeks after Charlie was assassinated. And I got to tell you, there is something very strange about Erika Kirk. It's just she does not seem like she was genuinely grieving. She was more concerned with discussing the merch sales and the fact that this was now TPUSA 2.0. And it's just some really weird behavior on her part. And of course, the other side of the thing is that she's sending out, TPUSA is sending out cease and desist letters to people, media influencers and posters to stop investigating. You stop asking questions, just stop. What is wrong with it's backwards. You would think that they would be doing the investigating to find out what the heck happened. But no, all of the video evidence that we've seen And all of the actions being taken by TPUSA indicates to the casual observer that they're doing everything and anything that they can to cover up any information about Charlie's assassination. Now, this is something that we do not want to forget about. Yeah, they say, oh yeah, 9/11, never forget. Well, look what's going on in New York right now. Seems like everybody forgot. Well, this whole thing with TPUSA and Charlie's assassination draws some very, very, shall we say, it's very suspicious. Very suspicious. Doesn't make sense. So, and you have to stop and think, TPUSA is now pumping the heck out of all of the Charlie Kirk audios and videos where he was undyingly behind Israel. And of course he was. But in the months that preceded his assassination, it appears, like I said, quite obvious to the casual observer that he had changed his mind. Yeah, you get to do that once in a while. If you're presented with information that challenges a belief, like Mark Twain said, when a man who is honestly mistaken hears the truth, he will either quit being mistaken or he will cease to be honest. And I think that Charlie was an honest man. Now, I didn't agree with 100% of what he had to say, but I do agree 100% with the concept that he was open for discussion. We should, if we can't sit down and talk about issues, well, then, what is this chat about? Democracy, So anyway, I have a bunch of clips here that we don't want to forget about. Keep in mind that, like I said, TPUSA is relentlessly posting clips of Charlie's praises for Israel and how he's standing by Israel. Well, there are a few things, like I said, that he had become aware of. Maybe he went back to the Bible and he read John 8:44, or maybe Revelation 2:9 or 3:9. Maybe he was starting to take a look at the deeds and not the words of Benjamin Netanyahu. Anyway, I have a bunch of different clips here we don't want to forget about when it comes to Charlie. Anyway, here's one of them.
I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do.
It's been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate. And my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like we're just going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's right.
And Israel, we have funded, we have supported. Not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this.
Okay? These are audio clips that the TPUSA would rather you not hear. They don't want you to put the two and two together and start to understand that Charlie had basically come to the realization that he was working for some bad people and he was trying to correct his course. Here's another clip from Charlie Kirk.
Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
And talking about the Jewish donors, now remember that Bibi Netanyahu was offering $150 million and a trip to Israel for Charlie, and he turned them both down. Now, why would he do that? If he was so pro-Israel and had a chance, all expense paid to Tel Aviv, go sit down with Bibi and get $150 million to fund TPUSA. And by the way, their annual budget was only $40 million. But he was being offered $150 million and he turned them down. That was sort of like a slap in the face to Bibi Netanyahu, wouldn't you think? He didn't like that too much, wouldn't you think? But, what they say, money talks and BS walks? Well, speaking of the finances, the finances from Israel, here's another clip from Charlie Kirk.
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Copperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us.
We were on top of it.
We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
Now, you're starting to get the big picture? You're starting to understand why Charlie had become a major, major threat to the Israeli interests in this country. I mean, he was a huge influence in the election last year. As a matter of fact, they credit Charlie Kirk for helping to push the younger generations in the direction of supporting Donald Trump. And they're also saying that Charlie Kirk was probably responsible for the landslide victory that Trump enjoyed, winning all the swing states, et cetera, all the electoral college, popular vote, all of it. A lot of people say that was because of Charlie's efforts. And like I said, when he got when he got smart, when he started figuring all this stuff out, he was talking about it. And like I said, I think he became a major, major threat to the Israeli interest and to Bibi Netanyahu's efforts to continue his push towards a quote-unquote greater Israel. So I got one more here. Actually, there's a couple more. I don't know where I put them. Oh, yeah, okay. Here's one more clip from Charlie Kirk.
At the core of the left, at the core of a liberal, is someone that would use the sword if they had it.
Ooh.
They are very violent people at their core.
Yep.
They always have been. They can't debate. They can't have conversation. So they'll resort to these tactics. They're going to do everything they possibly can to try to murder this movement because they can't beat us. So they're going to try to take weapons. And no, we're very aware of that. I'm aware of it. We have to have full-time security. This is not a joke. This is who these people are.
Yeah. And you stop and look at what's going on in Minneapolis and around in the blue sanctuary cities. Who's creating the violence? Now, again, I'm not 100% on board with everything that ICE is doing, but I am, completely aware of the fact that ICE wouldn't have to be there doing that if the liberals hadn't opened up the border and supported Biden-Harris and Tim Walz and Alejandro Mayorkas and letting millions and millions and millions of illegals across this country, and have been creating all these problems. Shall we talk about the fraud that's being discovered up there in Minneapolis and around the country with all these child care leering centers? Unbelievable. And for all of you folks out there that did support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, how do you expect? Oh my gosh. I can't in my wildest dreams figure out why they would support this guy. Now, by the way, Tim Walz is facing some very, very serious charges, and I don't understand why he has not been arrested yet. Arrested for what, Dave? How about this?
In his letter, Vance Belter claims that Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota wanted him and approached him about killing United States Senator Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith. Belter claims in the letter that he wanted nothing to do with Governor Walz's plan and that he would go public if he insisted.
Listen to this.
Belter claims that people threatened to hurt his family if he didn't participate in this plan to murder Senators Klobuchar and Smith. Belter says in his letter that he met with people to talk about the request, and that when he arrived at the meeting, some people were waiting to kill him.
Wow.
Belter wrote that he was able to get away, and that he went back a short time later and shot those people.
Crazy.
The letter, as I said, is contained in an unsealed search warrant and will be made public, as I mentioned a month ago.
I want to see that letter.
Wow, so let's get this straight.
Yeah.
Obama flew all these Somalis into Minnesota, 70,000, right? Why would you not sprinkle them around the country? So he created this population base in Minnesota.
Okay, I'm going to stop it for a second. That's right. Obama did bring in all these Somalis and planted them in Michigan. Okay?
Allowed Ilhan Omar to get elected. Tim Walz looks
Minnesota, not Michigan, sorry.
The other way. He's probably implicated in the whole scandal, and that's probably how he was ushered in to be Kamala's running mate when Kamala had no primary. You know, all these weird, shady things. Now it's like connect the dots. But now, hitmen for hire? Woo! Timmy. Things are heating up.
Mm-hmm. You darn betcha they are. So, again, where are the perp walks? Where are the arrests? I see post after post after post of people that are frustrated beyond words saying, what the hell? Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, where are the arrests? Oh, there's an arrest. Yeah, they arrested Don Lemon. Or Don Lemon. Yeah, for the attack on that church. Well, glory, Oski, is that not just throwing the dog a bone? Not even a bone. A shard of a bone. You think that, Don Lemon's participation into that breach into the church is going to change the direction of this country? No. It only points out the hypocrisy of the left, and they don't even care. I don't think the left even understands what hypocrisy is at this point. And I've said it on this broadcast numerous times that the stench of the hypocrisy curls my nose hairs. It's just unbelievable. So, where are the perp walks? When is somebody going to arrest Tim Walz? Yeah, okay, see, he said he's not going to run for re-election. Well, whoop-de-freaking-do. He hasn't even, considered the idea. He said that he will not step down. I will not. What an arrogant piece of garbage this guy is. Anyway, the phone lines are open. If you want to give a call, participate in the broadcast, you're welcome to do so. 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255. I'll put you right on the air. Anything you want to talk about, you're welcome to do so. More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary. And you can get more Tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and it'll take you down to a window where you can find out all the specifications and details about Get More Tank, how and why this fuel catalyst works. You know, when you first start using it, well, what you do is you get 5 tablets for $20. That's when you use the promo code REDPILL101. And you get 5 tablets. On your first application, you put 2 tablets in your gas tank and fill the tank. By the end of that gas tank, you will start to notice right away that when you hit the accelerator, your vehicle takes off. And after a couple of tanks, you'll start to see the mileage increase, anywhere between 15 and 20%, depending, of course, upon your make, model, and year of vehicle and your driving habits. But the point is that as you use this, it's a fuel catalyst. It's not a fuel additive. What happens is that your fuel burns more efficiently, which means it runs cleaner, and it gives you more power. And like I said, after a couple of tanks, you start to see the increase in mileage. So this does not make sense not to get more tank. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and get more tank. All right, that's a little piece of segue music that I use to change topics. And of course, the big topic is, this immigration problem and the ICE problem and, the drug trafficking problem and the human trafficking problem. And by the way, as they're making these arrests and these busts, ICE is finding all kinds of drugs and human smuggling. They're rescuing children. And for the life of me, I cannot understand how the leftists can rationalize, trying to stop them. And we all know now that these demonstrations are not organic. They are very well funded by NGOs, and these people are paid to get out there and do what they're doing. So, we're in a world of hurt, folks. People have got to understand that, yes, we are in the middle of a color revolution. We are at war for the survival of this republic right now. And most people are completely unaware, which is why I played that song to kick off today's show. That's the title cut of my first album, Will Someone Listen? One of the verses in there says, when your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. So go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't care. It was real. You'll learn the hard way. And that's where we are, folks. America's going to learn the hard way, or we're learning it now. We're going through, hopefully we're learning it now. We're just constantly brainwashed, by these talking heads. They're trying to sell. They could tell you to drink radiator fluid, and a lot of you folks would. We talk about, big government. That's not good. More taxes for more government. No, that's not the direction that we're supposed to be going. And yet the talking heads on all of the alphabet networks, and yes, the cable networks as well, they are trying to sell you on big government, on bureaucracy. Remember this? Remember these clips? Listen to this.
If the Democrats fail it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. It's Democrats versus, as Bill Kristol says, the end of bureaucracy.
We are essentially, as Neil put it, one vote away from sort of the end of bureaucracy as we know it.
Unbelievable.
Our bureaucracy and the stability of that bureaucracy is really the thing on the ballot and really so important.
My gosh, I just can't believe these people. I mean, it's the bureaucracy, what rhymes with it? How about hypocrisy? How about insanity? Well, that doesn't rhyme. But I mean, this is the level of insanity. And I don't know, do they hear themselves saying this? I don't know. I mean, either they're stupid or they actually believe in that philosophy. I don't know. I mean, that's, I asked a question many, many years ago. Do more laws make more freedom? I think we all know the obvious answer to that is no. But they're thinking the exact opposite. We need more laws. We need more departments. We need more taxes to support more bureaucracy. And this is, unfortunately, where this country is heading. And it's the fault of all the good people out there that just don't want to get involved. No, I don't want to talk about politics. No, I don't want to talk about that. No, that's boring. It's depressing. No, that's not making me feel good. This is where we're at with a lot of Americans, and I can't help but think that the topic of the ADL came up. Charlie Kirk had mentioned that, the Anti-Defamation League. Well, I call them the Anti-Defecation League because they're full of crap. They are the biggest hypocrites in the world. Charlie also mentioned how they supported Black Lives Matter, which of course was kicked off by the death of George Floyd. And now here we are, all these years later, and now we know what happened with George Floyd. Of course, the mainstream media wouldn't tell you about it at the time because it was their job to stir the pot and get people out in the streets and start having mostly peaceful protests in places like Minnesota. Unflaming believable. And just in review, now we look back at George Floyd. Yes, he did hold a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Yes, he was passing counterfeit $20 bills. Yes, he was selling fentanyl. Yes, he was a porn star. And yes, when he got busted, he overdosed on fentanyl, and that's what the autopsy showed. There was no damage to his larynx. There was no way that he was asphyxiated as the mainstream media wanted you to believe. But now it's all the years later, and oh, well, so what? So what? I mean, that was a kickoff to the summer of love. So the point is that they fill everybody's head with bullcrap, lies, manipulating their opinions on everything, and then they act all surprised when all of a sudden violence breaks out. They're doing the same playbook now. They're doing the exact same thing with all this stuff about the ICE officers. And again, I will reiterate that I don't support ICE 100% in their methodology. I think there are other ways to do things. But I also know that all of these agents are human beings. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has to deal with pressure. And when you've got these yahoos out there that are blocking their vehicles and, blowing whistles, tooting horns, getting in their faces, threatening them, ramming them with their cars. And of course, this guy that was unalived last week, he was no angel in this thing. They're circulating a video now about something that had happened 11 days before he was killed. And yes, he was belligerent. He kicked out the taillight of one of the ICE agents' cars. Now, I talked about this yesterday. I know that there are AI videos that are being put out there. And we have to be very, very, very careful about what we're seeing. Now, one of the social media posters goes by the name of Ian. He pointed out that video, was it yesterday or the day before, of this guy, Petty, kicking out the taillight of one of the SUVs with the ICE officers in there. Now, he showed that video. He says, this is most likely AI. And I said, oh, man, that's pretty interesting. That's a pretty darn good, convincing video. If this was created on a computer and this isn't real, we got to be really careful. Well, he said, it was likely to be AI. And then I turned on the news and they're playing that exact same video on all the news channels, basically showing that this guy was not a good guy. He was out there creating havoc 11 days before he got killed. So I'm saying, okay, well, was this turning out to be a real video? Or is the mainstream media pumping us with AI videos? So this is why we can't believe what we're seeing. We can't believe what we're hearing. And we're in deep doo-doo. We are in an information war in this country. And people have got to come to understand that. This is why people have got to roll up their sleeves and get involved. Do whatever it is that you do best. I happen to be a musician and I talk on the radio, and that's my contribution. I try to, share this information as it comes in, and hopefully you run with it. It was Thomas Jefferson said that the tree of liberty must occasionally be nourished with the blood of tyrants and patriots. And there was another one, the seeds of freedom were planted by our founding fathers in the hopes that we would tend the garden. But unfortunately, we, several generations down the road since the founding of this country, we've been neglectful. And the garden that gave us our freedoms is very sadly overgrown. And, when you've got a garden that has been completely ignored for a few generations, it's no longer a garden. It's just a mess of weeds and, strange plants. So you have to retill it and replant it. I don't want to have to go through that whole thing again, which means another revolution. But you know what? We may be coming to that. I don't know. I don't want to see that happen. I want restoration, not revolution. Anyway, getting back to this issue about hypocrisy, and because the big topic right now is what's going on all over the country with the ICE agents and the demonstrations and the violence that we're seeing. And for whatever reason, these liberal Democrats feel that these rapists, these drug dealers, these human traffickers, they all have to be protected. And these people, I don't know if it's suicidal or what. But again, this is not a topic that's strange to our elected officials. And many of them flip-flop depending upon who's in office. Of course, now, with Donald Trump as president, no matter what he does, they're going to take the opposite side. He could come out with a cure for cancer, and they would want it banned. Here's Nancy Pelosi some years ago discussing the immigration system. You want to talk about hypocrisy? My gosh, I can't believe this.
Broken borders.
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron, something we can't tolerate. Borders of their nature, our definition as a nation, and our protection as a country.
Mm-hmm.
Broken borders, they don't exist.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. Because under the Biden administration, those borders weren't broken. They were just opened. They weren't broken. They just weren't being enforced. Go ahead, Nancy. Tell us some more.
Can't tolerate them. So let's say from the start that we all in this body, and I know I can speak very firmly for the Democrats, support strong border control. And it must be part, and the first part, of any comprehensive immigration reform. It is our obligation as elected officials to keep the American people safe, and our borders are our first line of defense, one of our early lines of defense to do that. Democrats support also enforcing laws, current laws, against those who came here illegally and those who hire illegal immigrants. Yet, the Bush administration has refused to do just this. Imagine that for all of this talk about illegal immigration to the United States and going after those workers who are working here illegally, and we should, but we also must have employer sanctions. Where are these people working? Why are we not enforcing the law against employers?
Are you hearing this? Are you grokking this? Are you grasping this? This may be 20 years ago, but, you would think that you're listening to the voice of a conservative Republican. But this is Nancy Pelosi 20 years ago, screaming about the exact same thing that Republicans are screaming about now. But because they're Republicans, the Democrats have to take the opposite side and say, no, we're going to have their borders open. Yeah, we're going to allow the illegals to have work at the Home Depot or whatever. Let me see how much more hypocrisy we can squeeze out of this audio clip.
Who hire illegal, undocumented people here. The Bush administration has prosecuted only 3 employer-sanctioned cases in the last fiscal year. Only 3 cases. When are we going to take this issue seriously?
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, we all know what we must do. Democrats have long called for strong border security, effective law enforcement, and for comprehensive immigration reform. In all that we must do as elected officials, we have the responsibility to make the American people safer and to make America stronger.
Are you catching up on this? This is staggering. I mean, the flip-flopping, the exact opposite of where the Democrats stand right now. I'll tell you, with that kind of a speech, I mean, she could be on Trump's team. Oh, my gosh. And, she's not the only hypocrite out there. Hey, Chucky, I got something else here. Remember when you said this?
The first of these 7 principles is that illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it. Above all else, the American people want their government to be serious about protecting the public, enforcing the rule of law, and creating a rational system of legal immigration that will proactively fit our needs rather than reactively responding to future waves of illegal immigration. People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally. To the advocates for strong, fair, effective, comprehensive immigration reform, and I'm certainly one, I say to you that the American people will never accept immigration reform unless they truly believe that their government is committed to ending future illegal immigration.
Right.
And any successful, comprehensive immigration reform bill must recognize this fact.
Unbelievable. Can you smell the hypocrisy yet? Can you? Can you? Huh? Can you? Oh, my word. Oh, I don't know how to correct this problem. Anyway, let me see. Again, the phone lines are open. If you want to join the conversation, we got about 15 minutes left before the end of the broadcast. You're welcome to do so on this Friday, the 30th of January. 215-867-8255. Okay? 215-867-8255. 888-285-8255. Okay, in other news, yes, we know that the economy is going crazy. The prices of gold and silver have been going up and down. Unbelievable. I mean, what was it? A week ago, yesterday, Thursday, gold passed $5,000 for the first time. It went all the way up to $5,400 and I think it was $80. Almost another half a thousand bucks. And now it's dropped down. It's back down below 5,000. It's bouncing around like crazy. Same thing with silver. Past $100, it went up to $120, and now the last time I checked about an hour or two ago, it dropped below $100. It's gone down to like $93. People, all over the world are watching what's going on with this metal market because the economy, the U.S. dollar, is in the process of being ejected by the rest of the world. So, the Federal Reserve's got to do something to help prop up the dollar. So what's the best thing to do in the good old United States of America, in this republic? We need to have, a good, solid financial base in this country. So are we going to turn it over to Americans, or do we turn it over to some other country? It just so happens, reported on Disclosed TV, that Trump is preparing to nominate Kevin Warsh. He's the son-in-law of Ronald Lauder. Okay, and he's also the former steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group to be the next Federal Reserve chair. Again, Kevin Warsh, son-in-law of Donald Lauder. Well, wait. Who's Donald Lauder? Why are you worried about that? Well, Donald Lauder is president of the World Jewish Congress, demanding that every nation adopt, quote, severe laws, unquote, to jail their citizens for speech he deems antiseptic. For speech he deems. You see where this is going? Not in a good way, folks. The noticing continues over and over again. Oh, man. Anyway, got a couple other things here to, Schumer, again. Schumer on the government shutdown. Now, they're talking about shutting down the government today. Now, remember, we went through this a few months ago. And the Democrats are saying, yes, well, it's not a good thing to shut down the government, et cetera, et cetera. But then again, they were pushing to shut down the government, and they're doing it again. Why? Because they don't want the funding to be cut for all the illegal aliens. Yeah. This is insanity. And most of America has got their head stuck in the sand because the Super Bowl's coming up next weekend. Unbelievable. Anyway, Schumer, let's hear what he had to say about a government shutdown.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos as the Social Security Administration limits certain services like benefit verifications or fixing errors in payments. Our veterans could see regional VA offices shut down and support services put on halt. Some of our military service members could be forced to work without pay. Families who benefit from WIC and other nutrition programs could see benefits halted.
So here we go again, right? Let me see. Who else do I have here talking about the shutdown? Oh, yeah, Senator Mullen. Yeah, here's what he had to say.
Isn't this the same CR, the same spending levels that you voted for in September? The same spending levels that you voted for in December? So what has changed? What's changed is you have President Trump in office rather than President Biden in office. Because there's no other argument you can have here. They weren't willing to shut it down. They were okay with these numbers two other times, but this is in 2024. Now that Trump's in office, it's their hatred towards Trump that they're willing to shut down the government for. It's absurd. Why wouldn't they support the policies, the numbers that they voted for underneath Biden?
Because it's blue versus red. Everything's got to be a political football. And it's not right versus left. It's right versus wrong. Whatever side of the aisle that you're on. Republicans haven't always been right, and neither have Democrats. And as you regular listeners know, I'm no fan of either one of those two wings of the same bird. And I've been screaming about this for decades now. Republicrats and Demopublicans, that's what I call them. And that's basically it, Money talks. Let me see. What else have we got here? A couple of other things. Oh, yeah, I wanted to revisit the movie Network. I've been meaning to do that for past several days because more and more of what was spelled out in that movie, and again, that was a half a century ago, folks. 50 years ago, 1976. This movie was up for an Academy Award, Network, but it was beat out by Jack Nicholson, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Remember that? But if those two movies had been released in different years, I'm very confident that Network would have won an Academy Award. The dialogue in that was absolutely staggering and prophetic. And it's always worth a reminder that the conversation that the talk show network anchorman, the fictitious Howard Beale, and he was, they were saying he was going through a nervous breakdown, but I think he was going through a great awakening. But I wanted to share this. For those of you who have never seen the movie Network, you really, really, really need to see that. That's right up at the top of the list. There's several movies that are at the top of the list, but that is definitely one of them. And this rant that Howard Beale goes on, I mean, this is a rant that would stand today. I mean, word for word. And the point is that we have the same doggone problem now, is that, that he was pointing out 50 years ago. Because overwhelmingly, the American people have just succumbed to apathy and complacency. And he was trying to get them stirred up. Get up, get off your butt. Anyway, let's revisit the rant of Howard Beale.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations does this go out?
You've got to get mad.
67.
Say,
I know it goes to Louisville and Atlanta.
I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Who are you talking to, Herb?
CGG, Atlanta.
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Herb?
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Ted? But first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
They're yelling in Baton Rouge.
God damn it. Get up, get up, get up out of your chair.
Son of a bitch!
Wow.
We struck the mother load!
Stick your head out of the window, open it, and stick your head out and keep yelling and yell, I'm as mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Just get up from your chairs right now. Go to the window.
Where are you going? I want to see if anybody's yelling.
Open it and stick your head out and yell and keep yelling. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to
take it anymore.
Wow. I remember that. What's it going to take to get people in this country today to do the same doggone thing? Amazing. Just amazing. History, repeats itself, and sometimes it's prophetic. And again, I highly recommend that film, Network. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see that. That's right up there with V for Vendetta. And these are movies that you should probably revisit now and then. I've seen V for Vendetta maybe 3 times, and I get something new out of it each time as time goes by. And by the way, you apply what you learn from some of these films to what's going on in this world today. I mean, right now, the saber rattling of us going into war with Iran. Iran hasn't attacked anybody. How many countries has Israel attacked? Yeah. Okay, so the thing is, why are they saber rattling now? You were looking at what's going on with the world economy. And whenever there's a threat of an economic collapse, you just check your history books. In every single case, when a country is facing an economic collapse, the solution is always go to war. Without fail. Check your history every single time. The problem is that now we have a global economy. And so I suppose instead of having a regular war, we'll have a global war. GW, and I don't mean Bush. Global War I. Yeah, that's where we're heading. And of course, now we have a new virus. What is it, the Zika? What is it, this new virus that they're... No, it's not Zika, it's a new one. So now we got to worry about another, maybe another plandemic, and there's a woman in Britain...
I can hold it.
Okay, yeah. She goes by the nickname of batshit bonkers. Excuse my French, but that's what she calls herself. And this is funny. Listen to this.
I can hold it. Yeah, I can hold it. It's fine. Hi, it's Margaret. I'm excited because I'm here at the vaccination centre getting my booster. It's my 45th booster. I've had 44 boosters. I've had COVID 14 times. But I know if I hadn't had my 49 boosters, my COVID would have been so much worse. And today I get a 3-for. 3-for. I know. I thought it was buy one, get one free, but it's 3-for. I've got my booster. I've got my cold and flu. And I've got my shingles, which I didn't know I needed, but I definitely must do. At this point, I'll be made up more of boosters and vaccines than I will of blood. And guess what I got given today? This! A prick loyalty card. I'm so excited. So every time I get a booster or a jab or a prick or a vaccine, I get a loyalty reward point. And look how well I'm doing. I only need 2 more and then I can get myself a heart attack.
Oh my gosh, what a riot she is. And it's sad, but it's true. There are so many people out there that think it's such a great thing. Give me another one. Well, guess what? You just might get your chance to go through what we went through with the plandemic 5 years ago. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for another week of broadcasting here. And if you appreciate this program, I ask you to click like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends and neighbors about this, because we're just trying to save the country here, folks. Anyway, that said, God bless you all. You have a wonderful weekend, and stay safe, stay free. I'll see you on Monday. And again, visit our website and do some business with us, would you? TheWTFReports.com. That's the place to go. Anyway, you take care, and I'll see you on Monday.